Hello, and welcome back to my Nashville Predators Prime Green Away jersey quest. As you can see here, we're at the very kind of beginning-ish of free agency after the 2021-2022 season. So just kind of quickly recap what happened in the 2021-22 season, kind of what I did in free agency, and kind of where I expect us to be at the end of the 2022-2023 season in this franchise mode. So to kind of go over what happened in the regular season, as I kind of explained in the intro, I tried to match up the Predators' results as closely as possible. So that ended up with the Predators finishing with a 47-31-4 record, good enough for 98 points in the first wild card in the Western Conference. So it was pretty close. I'm pretty sure the Predators were the first wild card that actual season, but it's pretty much identical. But they finished as the second wild card with 97 points in that season, so pretty much almost identical to where they finished in terms of record and points and all that stuff. In terms of scoring, as you remember, our player of focus was Jeremy Davies, the defenseman. And where is he? Oh, he's probably not near. He's probably in the AHL, so he's probably not going to be here. I have to go to the contracts screen to see him. Yeah. Alright, here he is. So as you can see here, played all 82 games for the Predators last season with 9 goals, 16 assists for 25 points, which is pretty good for a 7th ranked defenseman. His overall went up a little bit, which is pretty good. In terms of the playoffs, as you probably see here, we obviously didn't win the Stanley Cup because I wouldn't be doing this at the beginning of free agency. If we had, we'll just pretty much stop right after the Stanley Cup and explain kind of went through what the season that way. But in terms of the playoffs, we can see the Vancouver Canucks won the Stanley Cup over the Capitals, I think. Yeah, the Capitals in 7 games. As you kind of see here in the playoff tree, we were matched up against the Canucks in the first round, and it went all the way to 7 games with us losing Game 7. Kind of go more detail on the individual results. Here we go. Game 1, Vancouver won 5-1, and then we won games 2 and 3, 3-0 and 3-2 to take a 2-1 series lead. Vancouver brought the series equal 2-2 with a 3-4 win in Game 4. We then won Game 5 and 3-2, but couldn't close out the series as Vancouver won Game 6 3-4. Then we lost Game 7 0-4 to the Canucks, who then went on to win the Stanley Cup. So I guess you obviously wanted to win the Stanley Cup, would have been great. But if we're going to lose to anyone in the playoffs, it might as well be to the team that actually goes on and wins the Cup. So what that means for next season is that because now next season the schedule is kind of randomly generated by the game. I can't try to match it up to their actual results in the 2022-2023 season that well with a made up schedule. So how things kind of work is because we lost to the Canucks in the playoffs, the teams that I'll be playing games against in the regular season and or the playoffs will be the Buffalo Sabres away games, away against Arizona, because those are the 2 teams that Jeremy Davies played against in the away jersey in the 2021-22 season, and now the third team will be the Vancouver Canucks away because we lost Game 7 on the road to the Canucks. In terms of something I kind of forgot to mention about how all this somewhat works is in terms of me playing the games. When I play the games, I play position locked as whatever position the player focuses. So this for Jeremy Davies is left defenseman. I play position locked as left defense during the games to kind of create a little bit more level of challenge because I don't have the complete control over everyone. So it's not like I can just use all the cheese tactics and stuff like cross creases and all the other stuff. I have to actually play defense and all the other stuff. Playing position locked as a left defenseman. But since we didn't win the playoffs, that meant we had to go to the draft. And as you can see here, during the regular season, top score was Phil Forsberg, 91 points, who we then re-signed to a 6-year, $9.3 million contract extension after the season. He's kind of our biggest splash re-signing, signing it all in kind of this kind of free agency period because if I go to the coaching staff screen here, we are still rocking with this Sylvain Gamache head coach because none of the head coaches that were kind of available this offseason had the line scheme kind of fit that matched for Jeremy Davies as like the third pairing. That's where he, with his kind of overall, he should kind of be in a lineup if he's going to play in the NHL, would be on the third pairing. So none of the coaches available this offseason kind of had the pinch cycle kind of set up for their third pairing. So that means we're going to kind of stick with this coach for another season. So that pretty much meant I was going to, well, I kind of brought back pretty much everyone I could from this initial roster anyways. The only players that I let go that played any NHL games were Jordan Nolan, who wasn't initially in the roster, but I had signed to be our 13th forward before the season started. He played 20 games, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points. Rocco Grimaldi, who I think was like our fourth line right winger, or third line right winger for most of the season. I let him walk into free agency. He played 82 games, 8 goals, 5 assists, 13 points. And then Davies' defense partner on the third pairing, Matt Benning, I let go because Philippe Myers kind of was at the same overall and he has potential to grow. So I figured I might as well throw Philippe Myers on the third pairing rather than Matt Benning. So let Benning go. He played all 82 games, 5 goals, 9 assists, 14 points. And the other one from our kind of NHL lineup was David Riddick, our backup goalie. He had won 13 games with one shutout, 922 save percentage, and a 2.23 goals against average. Because Connor Ingram is kind of was the same overall as him, and he again kind of same situation. He has room to grow, so he can kind of fit in the backup spot and potentially grow into a better player than David Riddick currently is. So I figured I might as well work with him there. The other kind of big offseason thing would obviously be the draft. So the draft we had 6 picks. The first 4 went pretty well. I was able to snag a top 4 potential left defenseman, top 6 potential center, top 9 potential left winger, and a top 9 potential center. Our last 2 picks were kind of bad. That's kind of how you get to the end of the draft in like the 7th round. We got like 2 CPU generated kind of players. They're both right defensemen. They're both 7th defenseman medium rating, so they're probably never going to crack the lineup or anything like that. And then kind of last but not least, in terms of free agency, you might have seen as I was kind of scrolling through some of the point totals here. The kind of from the players that departed and kind of potentially AHL players that kind of I plan on moving up into the lineup next season. The only kind of areas of need I had to fill in the lineup for next season, especially with this kind of we're sticking with the same coaches and really fit who we have that well, is I needed a third line right winger and a 13th forward. So to fill those, I went with. There we go. Let's find them. Riley Smith to be our third line right winger. Signed him to a 1-year, $3.5 million contract. He's kind of going to be there. If he pops off and he kind of fits with our new coach, he'll stay. If not, he'll leave. If we can find a new coach. And then our other one was our 13th forward was Carl Soderberg. Signed him to a 1-year, $1 million contract. And then for the AHL, I kind of let a bunch of like AHL players go because they were either like 27 or above with like really bad overalls, or they were younger players whose potentials like were like bottom 6 forward or like AHL top 6 or whatever. So I let them go. So I ended up signing like, let me count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 AHL players to like contracts. But like something I actually have never done before, but I kind of thought might be interesting to try out for that, just because our prospect pool isn't that deep or anything. I just like ended up signing a bunch of like really low overall players, like 1-year contracts. So then hopefully, kind of as we build through the draft and whatnot, those kind of players, type of player can get like cycled out and replaced with like players we draft that have good potentials, and then potentially also kind of fit more with like the minor, like the AHL coach we're kind of going to go with at some point to match up kind of. Because what's going to happen probably is like when I find an NHL coach that kind of fits the scheme I want. So Jeremy Davis like is like a perfectly fits on the third pair. Well, then do is kind of try to find an AHL head coach who kind of has a scheme very similar. So then like the prospects can kind of like fit in the same spots they would in the NHL lineup and kind of like grow and seamlessly transition into the NHL. But that there isn't really much else to say. I guess I can kind of scroll through some of the awards. So the Canucks won the Stanley Cup. President's Trophy was the Panthers. Then it's got the Prince of Wales Trophy was the Capitals. Individual awards, Ovechkin kind of swept most of those. I think he had like 119, 120 points during the regular season. He had 119 points. So he won the Art Ross, the Hart. Dahlin won the Norris. Kane won the Lady Byng. Cole Sillinger won the Clark Calder, which is kind of very surprising because I'm pretty sure I look at my little spreadsheet. Yeah, he had 55 points. The rookie with the most was Trevor Zegras with 70. So you kind of would have thought the game would have given it to Zegras, but for some reason it gave it to Sillinger. Constantine was Demko from the Canucks. He also kind of swept the goaltending awards. Masterson doesn't really matter at all in this because that's like very much our real life based awards. It's based on like someone who's overcome like something very difficult in their life. Kind of see like Oscar Lindbaum like with his cancer diagnosis and Brian Boyle with his cancer diagnosis and whatnot. So in the game it kind of just becomes like a random defenseman go and like gives the award to a random defenseman. So that doesn't really matter that much. Jack Adams was the Dallas coach. Selke was Bergeron. Unsurprisingly, Ovechkin won the Lindsay and the Rocket Richard. In terms of the AHL, the individual awards we didn't really do much with is the Milwaukee Admirals, but the team awards though, the Calder Cup ended up going to the Hartford Wolfpack, but the Admirals they finished first in the AHL Central Division and then faced the Wolfpack in the Calder Cup finals, but lost in 7 games, unfortunately. But next season the AHL team should be like really bad because I sound like a bunch, as I said earlier, like a bunch of 55 overall players to contracts. But in terms of next season, because we didn't really have it, we don't have really have like a coach that fits the scheme, and like the players don't really fit the coach that well that we kind of have right now. I anticipate with me not trying to match the Predators like results, because that's not going to have like me only playing probably like with the teams that are kind of on this list of me to play against. Probably like one game against Buffalo Wicks. It's like Eastern Conference teams. It's like one home, one away. Arizona might be like away games. That's like 3, and then Vancouver might be like 1 or 2. So that's like 4 or 5. So I'll be playing like 4 or 5 games total during the regular season, leaving like 78, 77 games to be simulated by the sim engine in the game. I kind of anticipate it like us to suck really badly next season, even though we have some really good players and whatnot. I think just because the line fits are going to be really bad all across the board as they kind of were this season. We might squeak into the playoff spot or probably finish kind of like in a middling position. But also kind of depends if a team fires a coach mid-season that kind of has a scheme that works with us. I'll like fire our coach and hire him. That might improve our results. But I anticipate next season I'll be sitting here at this kind of same position, having not made the playoffs, and hopefully like with a coach that actually fits. But we'll see. But that's kind of it for now. And if anyone's watching this, thank you for watching, and look forward to the next episode.